Woo! Oh, look at that.
Welcome to the third episode of the Jack's Wax podcast. My name is Jared Miner. I am here with our marketing director, Todd Isaac. What's up, bro?
What's up? What's up?
Here to talk about ceramic coating.
It's a very asked about topic.
Probably our most.
Yeah, we had contemplated on going back and forth what our next episode was going to be, and it was by overwhelming response. People wanted to know about ceramic coatings just because they're real popular right now.
Yeah.
And they have been for the last couple of years. People just have these questions and concerns. They've been told a lot of false things that are out there, and in the way of social media today, there's so many things being put out there that it's indestructible.
Yeah.
You can set it on fire and your car's going to be okay.
Yeah, you never have to wash your car again if you coat it.
If your car's on fire, you need to run. Don't worry about how good the coating's doing.
From a distance, tell your buddies how cool it is that your car's coated while it's on fire.
Yeah. But there's just a lot of information out there. We just want to relay correct information.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions that came in. We're going to kind of run this thing backwards. We're going to answer a lot of the questions because that would be a lot of these questions that came in would be stuff we'd be talking about. But one thing I can say before we get into the questions is if you're looking into a ceramic coating and you're wanting to buy one for yourself to do, you're going to have, just make sure you're getting a coating from a reputable company.
Yeah, whether it's our brand or not.
Right.
Just make sure it is a really good company that stands behind their product.
Most definitely, because there's so many coatings out there. Everybody's trying to get a piece of it right now.
Just because of the popularity of it. Yeah.
So people you see coatings on Amazon that are $3 a bottle. Don't do it.
It's not going to be worth it.
Right. And even if if you don't believe in the Jack's Wax coating, which we would put ours up against anything, but just go for a reputable brand that has a full line of professional detail products. That'd be one recommendation I can give you, because we have seen and heard some horror stories of people using a ceramic coating that's just out there
inferior.
On Amazon. Right.
And
the one guy that came here, he came by our shop and he's like, he's a certified installer of our ceramic coating, and a customer had brought, and he's like, man, I had my truck ceramic coated. Yes.
He had a guy came in.
Had my truck ceramic coated. It looked like someone had painted it with nail polish. Clear nail polish.
Yeah, and that customer of his had bought the coating online somewhere, eBay or something like that. It was like a couple bucks. I mean, he had tried to apply it himself, didn't work out well. Went to Tidy Rice to get it fixed. He did the paint correction, got our coating on top of it. It was all good.
Yeah, so that would be. I always tell people, even when I'm speaking to them at a car show or whatever, I had that question. I was at a Dodge Viper convention when we spoke about ceramic coatings
downtown Columbus,
and that was a question I got. Why would I buy your ceramic coating kit that's $150 when I can get it on Amazon for $1.89?
Right.
And that's just not a ceramic coating. So whether it's ours or not, buy from a reputable company. That's a real good piece of information.
Yep.
We're going to get right into some questions. We had a ton come in. We appreciate everybody's feedback, everybody's questions. We'll try to get to as many as we can. The first one is from Caleb and Anita, 2016. What's the difference in the Shield Pro ceramic coating and the trim coating? Can you use the Shield Pro on plastic trim?
Great question. Yes. So here's the deal with the trim coating compared to the regular coating. And what we'll get into and we'll explain, these coatings are based on a hardness level. You hear 7H, 9H, 5H, whatever it may be. Our Pro is a 9H. So on paint, it's going to be the most durable that you can find.
Right. So people that don't know, our Shield Pro series is our professional grade ceramic coating, lasts 4 years of protection.
That's right. And so it's at a 9 on the hardness scale. The trim coating is a 5. Now, the formulation in the trim coating is different, and it actually adheres to plastic better. But this is what I would tell someone. If you're coating your car, you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy, and you want to coat your car and you buy our kit, by all means use the Pro, the 9H on your plastic trim pieces. It's going to perform well. You don't need to have the trim coating. Where a lot of guys are buying trim coating is they're an installer. They're doing a ton of coatings in their business, and the trim coating, one, it adheres better to the plastic, but it's also cheaper.
Right.
So if you don't want to, they don't want to use up their 9-inch pro coating on the trim when they can buy something for half price just to do the trim.
And when it's not necessary, if they're
That's right.
doing it, if they're doing a lot of it, it's not necessary for the 9H. It's completely safe if you do it.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary because the trim coating is made to adhere to trim, and it's so much easier for the coating to adhere to trim because it's plastic as to where it's paint. It's a lot harder.
Yeah, and to the point of when do I use the trim coating, it is not a product that brings back, like, if you get these old faded out plastic trim pieces. That's not what the trim coating's for. It'll make it a little darker, but it's to protect trim that's already in good shape
and to keep it from
fading. That's right.
Correct.
So when we talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, I think, about the trim stuff. If you've got bad trim, use black trim renew. If you've got good trim that you're wanting to keep from fading, use coating.
Yep, good question though, because that's one we get often. So if you have Shield Pro 9H ceramic coating now, and that's just what you have, and you're looking to do your personal vehicle, by all means, go ahead and use it on your plastic. It's going to work great.
Definitely.
Ian Merriman, he asked, I just had a new car corrected and ceramic coated at the Tint Lab USA, and have been blown away by what a difference it's been versus the standard Carnauba style protection products. I find it stays clean longer and is much easier to do maintenance washes than it was before. I wonder if this may slow sales for you guys as the coatings and technology get so great that they're used less frequently. What new ceramic products do you plan on bringing to the market in the future? Love the podcast and look forward to it every week.
What's his name? Ian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
For sure. That's cool. And a lot of stuff there, really good questions. It's been 3 years now. When did we release the 7H?
Yeah,
3 years ago. And we tested it 18 months prior to that, before the release date.
And it was a topic of a discussion the whole time, especially with your dad.
Yeah, are we selling something that people are never going to have to buy anything again? Of course, from a profit standpoint, it's something that we thought about, but you have to maintain these coatings, and there's products to do that. We have ceramic soaps and ceramic detailers and ceramic waxes if you want to go down that road. So there's other products you sell with the coating. Now, it is definitely a lot less product, and you're going to use less of it, but that's okay. I mean, I'm a proponent of the coatings, and I see the benefit that they give people. So,
and a lot of times when we're coming out with a product, we want to come out with it if it makes sense for the customer. And ceramic coatings by far make sense because they are popular, and they are, regardless if it's our Shield Pro 9H or what it is, it's the highest form of protection you can get for your paint.
There's no question.
So that is what led us to go ahead and we want to make the coating because it is needed.
Yeah,
and it is good for the customer. So that went a lot into it.
What was his other one? Something about, is there?
Hang on just a second. Is there any other products we plan on coming out with ceramic coating? And we have a product right now we've been working on for a while with glass coating, ceramic glass coating.
Yeah, and you and I tested it some time ago. It's months and months. Hell, it could have been almost a year ago. I don't know.
Oh, a year.
And we're testing it. We did a 50-50 on the windshield of each of our cars. We did it on our side glass. And for the first probably 60 days, it's incredible. You don't even really need wipers to a certain extent. I mean, it was really, really good. And then it starts to diminish, depending on where you're at too. And, sometimes it was a year ago because it was cold. And
when we tried it, it literally monsooned for like 3 days.
Yeah, and it was awesome. But, the more you use your wipers, the more it can start to deteriorate it. So depending on where you're at, I just, for us, and the reason we haven't done anything and moved forward with it is I feel like if you're going to use a ceramic coating on the glass, it needs to last longer than 60 days. And I just wasn't happy enough. So it's not the same coating. It wasn't our paint coating. It was a different formula, and I don't think it's where it needs to be. So we don't put it out there until we get it right, and to where we can put it out there comfortably and say, this is going to be the best product you're going to be able to use on your glass. We're not doing it.
Yeah, our deal is not to just put it out there and be like, oh, here's the best coating ever for your glass, and then in 60 days it's off. We want it to be everything that we say it is. We think it should last longer than 60 days.
Definitely. I think it should. I mean, you're talking years on the paint. It needs to last more than 2 months on the glass. So to answer Ian's question, yes, we are working on other ceramic products, and I think the glass coating is in the future. I just want to make sure it's right.
Yeah, definitely. Good question.
Yeah.
Next question is DJ's Triple D. What is preferred temperature for application? And for cooler or hotter temperatures, what is the difference in application style?
Yeah, so this is a big one. And up there with the phone calls and questions is...
Definitely.
So here's the deal. This is what I tell everybody. Let's get into the paint correction aspect of coatings. So a lot of people buy a brand new car, and that's a great time to coat your car because it's probably the best condition that your paint's going to be in. But I will tell you this, you're still going to need some sort of paint correction in most cases. It's very rare, and I don't even know that I've even seen it, where there's a brand new car that hasn't been run through an automatic car wash at that car dealership.
Definitely.
Or been hand washed potentially improperly. There's some swirls. There's something in the paint. And here's the other part of it. My level of perfect paint and someone else's level of perfect paint can be totally different compared to your level of perfect paint.
Right.
So it's up to the customer. You know, if you're happy with the condition of the paint of your car, you need to clean it off, make sure there's no Carnauba waxes, make sure there's no sealants. It needs to be clean and raw, just fresh paint, and then you can apply the coating. But I'm just telling you.
The question he's asking, the temperature is a big key.
Yes, because if it's in a humid, you know, let's say you're in Florida, for example, and it's really humid out. You know, this is why I tell people, get the paint perfect, and now we're at the step that we're going to coat the car or truck or whatever it is. Do a test spot. This is crucial. Let's say you do a 2-foot section test spot, and if you're in a humid area of the country and you put it on the paint, you know, you apply it and you do it in a crisscross pattern and you get really good coverage, apply it in thin coats, it's probably going to flash or have that rainbow effect. For people that aren't familiar with what that is, that's what the coating does. You apply it to the paint and it rainbows. Well, it could do it instantly if it's really, really humid.
And we've had that happen.
Yeah, that's right.
It does it instantly.
And it could be, if it was really cold out, I've seen it take 7, 8, 9 minutes to flash. So temperature is a huge variable when it comes to these coatings. Now, when it's hot and humid and you put that coating on and it flashes fast, I tell people once it flashes and you see that rainbow, wait 3 minutes. Let it start to build the film. Don't wipe it instantly right off. You didn't give it a chance to do what it needed to do. Now it's still going to work, but it's not going to be to the potential of the coating. So let it sit about 3 minutes. And when you go to wipe it, there should be resistance. There should be some drag. You know, you shouldn't be able to just wipe it off really fast.
And to be clear, you may get that resistance in less than 3 minutes. That's why we're saying do it on a test panel first.
That's right.
Because it could haze up. I just had a guy last week, real fluent in coatings. He coated his truck. He's not a detailer, but he coated his truck back in early spring. It was kind of cool. Did it 3 to 5 minutes in between each one, you know, perfect. He just went to do his wife's vehicle the other day and was doing the same method. Well, he did the entire hood, waited the 3, and it was already, because it was so hot and humid, it was already to where almost he couldn't get it off.
Exactly.
So that's why it's important, and this is someone that is pretty fluid in coatings. So it's really important to do a test section. We still do them today every time we do.
I do every car I coat.
Yeah, because you never know how it's reacting that day to that temperature.
Yep.
So that's why it's always important to do the little 2-foot section. That way your humidity and all that stuff's taken in factor. And
we need to point out this stuff all needs to be indoors. We can't just expect that everybody knows. It needs to be inside. It needs to be in the cleanest environment possible. In my opinion, anytime you're detailing in general, but especially when you're talking about coatings, clean environment.
Everything, towels, applicators, everything you can as clean as possible. And if you have the advantage and you can do it in a climate controlled room, that's the best.
Yeah, I mean, and not everybody's obviously going to have that, but there's a ton of detail shops and professionals that we're selling it to that they'll do all the paint correction and all the detailing of the car out in their shop, and then they'll pull it into a lobby area if they've got room or somewhere where it's temperature controlled like you're talking about.
To do the coating.
Yes. Here's the deal. You're talking about something you're going to do every 2 to 4 years. Take the time and do it right. Don't rush through it.
That's the biggest tip that I could give anyone doing coatings is just take it easy.
Yeah.
And don't try to do it fast. If you go out there and just go at it and be thorough and not in a rush, you'll have no problems.
That's right. And you know, something that I would point out to everyone is you've done your test section when you're wiping it off. So for people that are just listening and not watching, on our table here we've got a kit and we've got some of our our ceramic shampoo and detailer wax, but we've got our Shield Pro kit, and it comes with multiple towels. There's a real fluffy, what we call the double plush edgeless towel. that is not the towel you use for the initial wipe down. There's more of what we call our utility towel. It's gray, or it might be red in your kit, either or. Just a standard microfiber. But from a coating removal, like your first wipe down, that's the towel you need to use. And then you can do a final wipe down with the double plush edgeless. It's so important to be as thorough as you can in the wipe down process, because a lot of times there's human nature is to put too much coating on, and then when you go to wipe it off, there's high spots, and you have a tendency to miss them. Well, when you miss them and you don't get them the next day, you know, now you think you're done with the car. Maybe the lighting where you're doing it's not the greatest. You take it outside, and now there's spots. That
Right.
rainbow effect. There's spots on the outside of the car. Well, guess what? And now it's going to be hard to remove.
Yeah, and those are all great. Those are all big parts of it. The climate, the wipe down process, just taking your time. Those are tips that they seem simple, but I can't reiterate them enough.
Well, I tell people, when you've wiped it down and you think you've wiped it down perfect, wipe it again.
Right.
Do it another time.
Because that's the only chance you're getting at it.
Yeah, and you're going to save yourself some headache, because if you have those spots that you have to then fix the next day, chances are you're going to have to polish them off with a buffer. You're not going to just be able to wipe them off. That coating's cured.
Right.
So, you know.
Next question came in from Atlanta Jax Wax. Does a lot of coatings.
Yep, he's a certified installer for us, a distributor.
Yep, certified installer. We have certified installers all over the United States for people that are looking to go get their car ceramic coated. We and when you talk about a ceramic or a certified installer, these are just people that we've taught the correct way to apply it and the way not to price gouge. It should be, you should be treated properly when you go there, and you're not going to be taken advantage of.
Well, you know, that's the decision someone has to make when it comes to coatings, whether they do it themselves or they pay a professional to do it. And you may get a little sticker shock when you have a professional tell you the price. But here's the deal. That paint correction and getting your car as perfect, as good as it can be to coat, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
It's nothing for our guys to have 10, 15, 20, 25 hours in paint correction, which may sound crazy to a lot of people.
Right. Just the paint correction alone.
Just
that's
the
not
buffing.
even the coating.
That's right. So, again, it's that level of perfection that you want to have before you put the coating on. So that's why it can be costly to do it. But these guys that you're talking about, these certified installers, we're comfortable. To us, it's the same as if you were to come right here at Jax Wax. We're as that comfortable with Kevin Hawkins in Atlanta. We'd say this guy is going to do this coating just as good as anybody we can imagine.
And and most importantly, we know you're going to be treated fairly and right when you go to Kevin Hawkins.
Ultimately, it's a reflection on us.
Correct.
And
there's not, and that's another reason. You know, with the coatings, we want it to be fair. You know, when coatings first came out, there were all these myths, and you had to pay $4,000 to get your car ceramic coated because nobody knew anything about them, and that's not the case. It can be done right. It is pricey, but you can be in the $900 to $1,500 range and it be great. And that's another question we get all the time. People call in, what's your price on ceramic coating? Well, it's different on every car.
Yeah, well, because again, it's like a flat rate mechanic or someone that's, you know, what's their hourly labor rate when you take your car to get fixed. Well, the time in these coatings and the cost is in the paint correction and the prep for the most part.
And you never know without looking at that car what it's going to take. If you get if someone's bringing a brand new car, if two people have a brand new car and they say, I'm bringing you a brand new car, how much is it? You can't price it because you don't know what that car looks like scratch wise.
And you don't want to sit there and tell someone, well, it's going to be this much money. Then you get it and you see it and you got twice the amount of time in it.
Right. Or vice versa. You tell them a price and it actually doesn't need much paint correction, and now you've charged them more.
Yep.
So the questions he has is, we get these questions the most. When we say our coating will last for 2 or 4 years, what is that based on? Could it last longer? That is the first question. Why is the Jax Wax ceramic shampoo the choice for washing your coated vehicles? Okay,
so first part is, you know, we've got a 2-year and a 4-year coating. Right. So coatings are based on this hardness scale. Our 2-year coating is a 7. Our Pro version, which we have here on the table, is a 9. It's a harder coating. It's more durable. That's why it'll last longer. And a lot of this has to do with elements. You know, we've touched on it a little bit, but a lot of it has to do with where you're at in the country. Is it exposed to UV rays a lot? Does it sit outside compared to, is it garaged? How many car washes do you go through if you go through automatic car wash or something like that?
Right.
how many times do you hand wash? There's so many different factors that can determine that. But here's how we test things. We'll do an accelerated wash test, which is you take a panel, let's say a hood, you coat it. We wash it with a detergent or something that's much stronger than what normal people would use as a car soap.
Like a Dawn dishwashing detergent.
It's a detergent that we're using that's just more aggressive than anybody would ever have. We wash it. We rinse it. Does it bead? We keep doing that 40, 50, 60, 70, 170 times. We get to the point where it stops beading. And then you look at averages. You say, well, the average person, how many times they wash their car? There's people that wash it once a week. There's people that wash it 3 times a week, once a month, 3 times a month. There's all these different factors and variables. So you put all that stuff together and you come up with the average. We're comfortable with saying that our 2-year and our 4-year coating with maintenance, meaning using the right ceramic soap, which I'll get to as the second question, using ceramic detailers, maintaining that coating, doing all the proper stuff, it's going to last that long. It's going to bead water and shed water like it's supposed to that long. Right.
And the 4 years, we have cars that if it's a garage kept classic show car, it's lasting longer than 4 years. If you're living here in Ohio and you're driving through automatic car washes all the time, it's not lasting 4 years.
In the wintertime, and salt and road grime and all the crap that goes along with it. But there's classic cars that never see the elements. It'll last longer than 4 years.
Absolutely.
So
so the second part of the question was about ceramic shampoo, and I have some guys like, why would I get my car ceramic coated? I have to do all this stuff to maintain it. You don't have. It's not anything different. You would just use these ceramic based products now because you have a ceramic coated car. So instead of you using a soap that may take away from your ceramic coating or make it deteriorate faster, you're using a ceramic based soap that now adds to the coating.
That's right.
And the detail spray that adds to the coating.
Constantly feeding the coating.
So it's not like you're having to do all this crazy stuff to maintain it. You're just using a different line of products now because you have a ceramic coated car.
You were going to use a regular soap before anyway. You were going to use a regular spray detailer before anyway. Now you're just replacing those.
Right.
And that's another thing. And we get this all the time. Someone gets their car coated. Can I use Carnauba based waxes and detail sprays on my coated car? Well, technically you can, but we just don't recommend it. We talked about that in a previous podcast. You need to keep the products in the same family. So organic products like Carnauba-based products, and then there's synthetic or inorganic like these coatings, all right, these SiO2 ceramic-based products. Just keep it in the same family, and then you're all good. You don't have to worry about anything else. It'll maintain the beading characteristics, all the hydrophobic properties. That's pretty crucial. So that soap is important to use on your coating. It
is. And when we first started doing these coatings, we had a guy came in just to touch on a little bit of the Carnauba over ceramic. So for simple terms, when you have that ceramic coating and now you put, let's say, a Carnauba wax on top of it, it doesn't like that ceramic coating, but now you've got a layer of Carnauba over that, so it's going back to the Carnauba effects instead of ceramic coating effects.
And really not even as good as the Carnauba could be, because that coating, its tendency is to shed whatever's on it.
It's trying to shed that Carnauba.
It doesn't like it.
Right.
So the Carnauba, if it was on a non-coated car, would adhere to that paint much better than it would that coating. So now it doesn't even beat as good as the Carnauba would on just a regular surface.
Right.
So it's just fighting against each other.
One of the first cars that we coated here, one of the first, probably 20, it was in the first 20, the guy came back like 3 weeks later and he was like, man, this coating, it's just not doing what it was doing. And he had been, and we started asking questions because we know, and he had took it through automatic car wash. Well, it had sprayed some type of silicone wax on it, and it was giving it that effect. Well, 2 or 3 weeks later, it's back because now that's washed off.
Yeah.
So that's why you would use the Shield shampoo, the ceramic detailer. Just you want to stay with ceramic type products if you have a ceramic coated car.
For sure.
Okay. Next question. Subsonic ambition. Discuss the proper atmosphere and temperatures for proper applications. It would also be nice to let everyone know what products you can and can't use with ceramic coatings, from quick detailer to just washing. And so we already answered those questions, but his last question was, will there be any new training classes coming up to become a certified installer?
Yeah. So he's a local guy. And once, there is going to be, we talk about this a lot. Here's the deal. We want to do more of that stuff. But when it comes down to it, the people that are certifying is you and I.
Right.
And
there's only two people doing ceramic certifying, Jack's Wax ceramic certifications, and it's us.
Yes.
So we wish we could do more.
It's just that we're going in a lot of different directions, and we can't do it as much as we'd like to. So, yes, we are going to in the near future. And a lot of times we'll do one-on-one training. You know,
Definitely.
sometimes that's better than a big class. We've had pretty large classes before, and some people learn better when it's just one-on-one. They're more comfortable in that setting
Right.
instead of a big group. So I like one-on-one training, and yeah, we're going to do some more of that for sure. So we kind of social media, Facebook, Instagram, that's how we kind of let people know that that's going on.
Yeah, we'll make a post when it's going to happen. And for people that aren't local, we've had virtual classes to where we've certified people through a virtual, just explaining it through Skype
Video,
or video some type. So we're open for that too, because a lot of these guys that we're certifying are already leaps and bounds ahead when it comes to the
They've already
application.
done coatings before.
Right, when it comes to the application part. But we just want to, a lot of our class is explaining the proper ways to apply, heat, some of the questions that we're answering today, and just what we expect when we send someone there, how they're treated.
Yeah, and educate them on, when a customer has questions for them. Because not all coatings are the same. It's not just this broad, our ceramic coating is the same as this ceramic coating, so on and so forth. So we want to educate you on our coating.
Right.
And we want to tell you, when a customer comes and asks a certain question, you're going to be able to answer it. So a lot of it's educational for us because, like you said, a lot of these guys are already professionals. They've done the coatings before. And when it comes to actual application on a professional level, our coating's easy to use. It may be,
definitely.
To a person that's not
That's
a
one of the greatest
detailer.
compliments we get from professional installers.
They're like, man, this stuff's easy compared to some of the other coatings I'm
Right.
installing. To the non-professional, they don't have anything to compare it to or relate it to, so they think, oh, this is harder than just putting wax on. Yeah,
Right.
it is. There is some differences for sure, but you can do it.
Yeah, and so if we had to, touch on some of the most common things when it comes to ceramic coatings, a lot of people are confused on why on the cost and what it is. The ceramic coating part's not hard. The money comes in because you have so many hours of prep work into this paint. So if you bring your car in to get ceramic coated to someone, they're having to go through hours and hours of paint correction with a 3-stage, polishing system and getting all those swirls out, because for simple terms, it's like putting a layer of glass over that paint. So now anything that's in there is in there because the coating's over top of it. So that's where it comes in. That's where the cost, because there's so much time in that.
It's all about the time, man.
It
really is every
that's
single
what
time.
it is,
And if you have those swirls and you don't get them out of your paint, the coating actually enhances it, makes it look worse. So don't
Right.
lock that in. Get your paint perfect first, and then apply the coating.
If you went to a certified installer or someone and you said, I don't want you to touch my car with, you don't have to polish it, nothing, just put ceramic coating on it, it's not going to be nearly as much.
No, because again,
that's
it's just
where
the
all
time.
the work's
They're spending less time on doing it.
Right.
So I think that covers most of it. There may be some other questions that people have. I would just explain to people in general, if you don't have a lot of detailing background and you're not really comfortable with it, maybe you need to go to a professional to have it done. And I'm not saying you can't do it. The actual application, like you've mentioned multiple times, the application of the coating is not the hard part. Now, there's some little tricks that you got to know about, like we're talking about flash times and stuff like that, but it's all in that paint correction. We keep stressing it. The prep. Get that part right. If you're not comfortable with doing that, then have a professional do it. But if you're pretty fluent in that kind of stuff, well, you can definitely do it yourself.
And if you decide to tackle it yourself, call us.
Yeah,
we have no problem. We want to answer your questions. We've been through things that have happened, and we can answer most of the questions because we know, applied right, that it's going to give you results that'll blow you away. And
I would put our coating against anyone's, period.
Definitely. And another question that we get a lot is some of the myths about ceramic coating. So we've had people say, the guy told me I get my car ceramic coated, I'd never have to wash it again.
Yeah, well, that's
it's not true.
That's the marketing tactics that people will use, because they look at it like it's a one-time buy. I'm going to sell you that coating that one time. I'm not worried about anything after that first sale. That's just not the way we're ever going to be. And we're going to be honest with you. You're still going to need to wash your car for sure. Now, the cool thing is it's going to be easier to wash your car.
It's going to be a lot easier. That's my favorite part about the ceramic coating is the maintenance of your car is so much easier. Dirt will wash right off most of the time without soap. I mean, you can literally take a pressure washer and it's going to come off way easier. For wheels, it works great.
It's killer on wheels.
Because it takes the brake dust and it makes it come off so easy. But you can still get scratches in your paint. It's not
that's the other
bulletproof.
thing. I see these big people scratching cars. Like if you take a key to your car, it's still scratching your car, dude. Like it's not. Now, is there some scratch resistance? Yeah,
Definitely.
a little, but it's not. It's not a bulletproof thing. These coatings. That's what we need to make clear. These coatings are awesome for durability. They're the best out there in this industry.
They're the highest form of protection.
No question. They are not bulletproof.
No.
You still have to wash your car. Your car can still get scratched. You're going to still get a bug chip. I've had people say, well, if I have a ceramic coating, I won't get bug chips.
No, you
That's
will.
definitely not the case.
Right,
at
because
all.
it doesn't. It's not a indestructible shield. It is great protection, but it's you see these videos on Facebook and this, that, and the other where there's a half and half hood of a vehicle and somebody's throwing muddy water and the one side the mud doesn't stick. Well, that is an exaggerated view of what it does. It will do that, but they're putting 5 and 6 layers. We want to give you actual reality results. We're not going to make these gimmicky, set it on fire and if it's on fire, like we said, you need to run. Yeah. And we're not going to, show you scratching it and wiping it off because that's not the reality of it.
It's not the real world stuff.
We could do that and get people to buy it, but it's not the real world.
No. And listen, guys, wax isn't dead.
No.
If you're not comfortable with the ceramic coating thing, I get it.
We have a ton of people who are never going to ceramic coat their car, and it's fine. We just wanted to explain it because it's huge right now, and it is worth it. I believe in it. I believe it is worth the investment if you have a car that you're trying to, keep nice.
Yep.
But if you still like waxing, we got that too.
That's right. Look at the sign.
Yeah.
Look at the logo.
That's how it started. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I hope that we answered a lot of people's questions, and there's probably some more out there, and for that, you can come back to this podcast and kind of listen to some of the stuff we went over. But seriously, man, just shoot us an email or give us a phone call. Sometimes a good old-fashioned phone call is the best way.
Oh, and if we're available, we will get right on there and try to walk you through it.
Yeah.
And we'll have this video on YouTube, and you can drop a comment if you have any questions that we didn't touch on, because we could literally go on for hours probably about different questions and different concerns, different scenarios. But if you have any questions, shoot us a DM, drop it in comments. We'll help you out any way we can when it comes to anything, but in the coatings particular. If you got any questions about it, let us know.
Yeah, and then, that pretty much wraps this up. But next week, we've got a certified installer. That's going to be our first guest other than, my dad. Mm-hmm. So our first outside of Jack's Wax guest is going to be Chris from the Tent Lab.
Chris Ebright, owner of Tent Lab USA. Awesome at what he does. He's rated one of the top window tinters in the world.
He does really high. He does everything, but he's known as the guy around here.
He's the guy for window tint, film,
paint protection.
He does a lot of stuff. He wraps. He does full color change wraps.
I've even got some questions. I don't know a lot about paint protection. I mean, I know, but
I'm excited to have him on.
Yeah, like I have questions for him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pick his brain on that kind of stuff and where he thinks paint protection film makes sense and where it doesn't. He's tinted all of our cars.
Oh yeah.
I mean, throughout the years, he's really, really good. I would highly recommend him. So I'm excited to have someone that is a business owner and in an industry that is related to ours.
Definitely.
And just see what he's got to say.
Yeah, he's doing full color change wraps on cars, and he ceramic coats them.
Yep. Yeah, that's another thing. So a lot of people don't realize that you can ceramic coat vinyl wraps.
Yeah.
You definitely can.
You definitely can. And it almost adds like a little bit of a sheen to a matte, but you can still do the matte. Chris has done a lot of the matte finish. Even Kevin at Atlanta Jack's Wax. He's done a lot. And it can be done, and it actually works really well. So we'll tackle some questions with him next week. If you guys got any questions for him, shoot us through. We'll make a post out there before the podcast next week, so we can get some questions for him. But
we're going to try to stay consistent. We're, today's Thursday. We record on Thursday, release on Friday. So if you have questions leading up to that, we'd be glad to help you. And as always, just thanks for listening. And we're going to try to grow this thing and get better and better at it each time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Later.